Hi, welcome back. In this lecture, we'll see what is event-driven architecture. Well, event-driven architecture is a software design pattern in which decoupled applications can asynchronously publish and subscribe to events via event broker or message broker. Well, in an event-driven architecture, the decoupled applications will basically use a message broker or event broker for asynchronous communication between publisher and subscriber. Alright, in an event-driven architecture, applications communicate with each other by sending or receiving events or message. Well, in event-driven architecture, the event means an action. Okay, so whenever something happens inside or outside your organization, an event has occurred. So events basically means actions that can be anything. For example, if you consider this event-driven microservice architecture over here, this architecture has three applications or three microservices: order service, stock service, and email service. And whenever a customer places the order, then that time the event will be created. For example, create event, and that event will be published to message broker. And then stock service and email service, these two services will basically consume that message from the message broker. And in this event driven microservice architecture, all the applications are loosely coupled. Okay, so they are independent to each other. Alright, so event-driven architecture means it is a software design pattern in which all the decoupled applications will use message broker for asynchronous communication. Okay, so this is how the event-driven architecture looks like. Well, event-driven architecture is often referred as a asynchronous communication. For example, if you consider this event-driven microservice architecture over here, this architecture has multiple microservices, right? Order service, stock, and email service. Well, order service, whenever it will create the order event and it will push that order event in a message broker, then order service don't have to wait for the response. It can proceed to executing its other remaining tasks. Okay, so this is how the asynchronous communication. Whenever order service, it will create the event and publish that event to the message broker, then it don't have to wait for the response. Okay, so this is the asynchronous communication. Well, event-driven applications can be created in any programming language because event-driven is a programming approach, not a language. Well, you can develop event-driven architecture in any programming language. Well, an event-driven architecture is loosely coupled. For example, consider our architecture here, event-driven microservice architecture. In this architecture, we have three microservices: order service, stock service, and email service. And all these three microservices are independent each other. It means all these three microservices are loosely coupled. Okay, so order service, you don't have to know about stock service or email service. Order service just have to send an message or event to the message broker. That's it. You don't have to know about the consumers. Alright, similarly, stock service and email service, so these are the consumers and they don't have to know about the producer. They only responsible to consume or read the message from the message broker. They don't have to know about the producer, okay, who is producing the messages. Alright, so this is how the event-driven architecture looks like. So in an event-driven architecture, all the applications are loosely coupled. Alright, so this is all about event-driven architecture, and event-driven architecture is widely used in microservices. Alright, in next lecture we'll see how event-driven microservice architecture works and its advantages. Alright, I will see you in next lecture.